Alright, week one's done. We're done with week one. It was a great week, but now we're moving on to week two. What these different teams need to do in order to win these games. A lot of really, really good games this week. The phone worked, so I'm going to go with that. You're not going to see me too much for this video, because we're going to go with the board. But a lot of really, really good games. I'm excited for the whole season. But week two has some interesting matchups. Some teams are going to have to win. Some are going to have their O taken, which is great. And we also got a lot of anticipated matchups. So let's start with the easiest ones. But first I want to say thank you to everyone for the last video. It did incredibly well. The best video on the channel for like nearly a year. So that's been awesome. Big influx of subscribers. We're up way past 1,000 now. It seems like just yesterday I was in a 1,000 player stream. But yeah, just wanted to show appreciation for this video starts and say thank you. So let's just get into it. Enough soppy stuff. Let's get into the keys to success and just the analytical stuff about the week two. The stats still aren't here for week one. We don't know the stats. They're still not available, which is a little bit odd. But we're just going to kind of see what we can go with. So sadly I won't be able to bring any detailed statistics for this one, but I'll see what I can do. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you very much. First game of the season, the Stuttgart Surge 1-0, the Roquelaw Panthers 1-0. Both of these teams looking like seriously elite level clubs in the league this season. Both of them looked incredible. I am ecstatic to see this matchup so early because it just kind of gives us a nice divisional game that we can really look forward to and see what happens. Stuttgart's key to success, running backs out the backfield. Roquelaw had an outstanding game plan on Berlin, using Gentry Adams, using David Brzozowski, and just running behind them, not only from a rushing standpoint, but also for a receiving standpoint. Stephen Duncan picked up right where he left off with Dresden, looked calm, looked poised, didn't turn the ball over, took what the defense gave him, and looked excellent. He also won MVP of the week one, so congratulations to him on his debut as well, putting a hell of a performance. Spreading the ball out. Now, they did a great job spreading the ball out between their elite receiver core. Darryl Stewart's one of the best in the league. Lewis Guy and Nate Meyer, but to the best Europeans in the entire league. Generally think both of them could go for 1,000 yards. They look on fire. Nicholas Kandar as well on the running game. They didn't neglect the run game. They kept that going throughout the entirety of the game versus the Munich Ravens, and it worked splendidly. So just keep doing that. Keep the different weapons engaged. Don't let them get cold. And just incorporate everyone in the offense. Riley Hennessy did an excellent job of that. The offensive coordinators did fantastic. Spotless. Inside pressure. Now, this is about the offensive line, but it's more so about the defensive line of Surge, right? They had a fucking amazing penetration coming through the Munich Ravens offensive line that everyone, including myself, was extremely high praise for. And Stuttgart just ran amok. Like, they did amazing. They were just through every single time. Chad Jeffries had very little time because of the inside pressure. Not so much on the outside, because they had so much coming through the inside. Roquelaw's more talented players, with Amordum, who is interior, and they have Keanu, who is exterior of the offensive line. They need to just try and go through the A's and B gaps, I think. Try and go away from those two, because those two are elite offensive linemen. And just work the inside with the amount of talent they have. That's how I see Stuttgart Surge going forward against Roquelaw. How Roquelaw going to deal with it? The secondary stability. They lost William James, and they had to get in a replacement, which was, I think you could kind of tell. Right? They gave up a couple points. The secondary looked a little bit discombobulated for the first period. They allowed a few points. They settled into it. But obviously when you get a new player in, it sometimes takes a minute for them to adjust the system. So stability on the secondary, I think, is going to be important for them just settling in and allowing less points defensively. Keep the O exactly how it is. It doesn't really need to be much said. The offense was fucking beautiful for the Roquelaw Panthers. The Stuttgart Surge and the Roquelaw Panthers offense were both excellent. But Roquelaw, I loved how they used the running backs out the backfield. I didn't see that coming at all. I've heard a little bit from inside that they were doing well and that kind of stuff, and they're going to use them in different ways. But I thought this would be a running team. I said before, I think they're going to get like a 2,000 yard rushing season between the two guys. They used them in receiving and it looked fantastic. Duncan was poised. The offensive line held up really well. The receivers, Jakob Mazem's back. Bender was good in his return. I just loved what they did. I think it worked extremely effectively. Just keep doing that exact thing, please. It was fucking cool. Let AJ work and then clean up behind him. By that I mean AJ Wentland looked like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. In the first week, he looked phenomenal. He got an interception, he got multiple tackles for a loss. He was absolutely everywhere. Crazy amount of tackles. Again, the stats aren't up, but he was absolutely everywhere. By clean up behind him, just if he misses a tackle or he needs a bit of support, don't want to have every single bit of responsibility. He's going to bang up his body. You need to have him secured. You need to get people around the ball so he doesn't have to be the first person around. If he's got a tackle, get some help in so he doesn't have to bring down a running back all on his own. If he gets a pick, just make sure that there are people blocking for him in the way. Keep him healthy, please. For the sake of the league and for the sake of the fans, let AJ go to work, but just keep him able to play every game. That's what we want to see. But I think ultimately, I'm still going to go for the Surge. It is going to be a nail biter. This is my game of the week. It's probably going to be the one I watch like more intently. I am extremely excited to see this game. Of course, the AI hates Roquelaw, so AI has gone for 35-28. I've gone for 21-22 in favor of Stuttgart Surge. If Roquelaw win, I'm not surprised. Like, they're that good. You could honestly answer me in 10 minutes and I'd have a different scoreline. Like, it's this close. It's this good of a game. Please don't be mad at me, fans in Poland. I love your team. I just think the Stuttgart are looking unstoppable. And the Berlin team kind of gave the offense a little bit of problems. So I think that's going to be a big factor. But that will do the first game and arguably the best. The Austrian Classic, Raiders Tyrol versus Vienna Vikings, is another game I think is going to be very, very important for how this league shapes up. Both of them, in my opinion, have a lot to prove coming into week 2. So we'll get a lot of answers, I think, in this game. The Vienna Vikings have traditionally been a better team out of these matchups. It's not really been crazy close in their competitions. Vienna have taken, I think, all of them. But the keys to success for the Raiders, don't play down. They played down against Milan at some points in that game. They really took it easy. You could tell they took the foot off the gas a little bit. They went 32 up. The second half was quite slow, quite boring. Nothing much really happened. They kind of, forcing out. They had some injuries, of course, which doesn't ever help. But you could tell they kind of played down a little bit to Milan at the end of it. Eyes on Jordan. Jordan Boer was phenomenal in that first game against the Enthroners. Absolutely everywhere. His hands look great. His route run's good. He's speedy. He's fast. He can catch pretty much everything. Keep your eyes on him, please. Do not let him get a second without someone being on his hip. Even if it's a run game, there needs to be someone, just so the offense doesn't think that you're slacking off. If he ever gets a centimetre of space, he's going to be gone. I think that he will score in this game. I do think he has the advantage in speed over the Raiders' defensive players. I think he's going to get another maybe 2 touchdown, 100-yard game. Jordan Boer seems this season to be one of the best that we have. And I think eyes on him and just making sure you know exactly where he is at all times is imperative to the Raiders. Drops in creativity. They dropped a lot of balls. Shea Finnett caught a lot of balls. He also dropped a lot of balls. Creativity. Get the ball to more players. They showed a little bit of it at the end with the receiver pass. But Philip Palm was not involved enough, in my opinion. Marco Schneider wasn't involved enough, in my opinion. Bonatti didn't really get what he was deserved. Like, he had a lot of runs, but they weren't really blocking for him great. The offensive line is worse. We knew it wouldn't be as good as it was last season. But they lacked a spark, I think, offensively, and it took them a while. They worked into it at the end. Marco got his touchdown. Philip Hahn got more involved, but at the start, it was just 1-yard passes and flat. It was very flat. It was boring. So they just need to get a bit more creative and just figure out what they could do to get certain players open and just reel in the ball. For Vienna, keeping Kerry running. Kerry Bajarin is going for 1,000 yards. I've said it before. I've said it again. Kerry Bajarin is a elite running back at this level. He is great. He looks awesome. His offensive line is phenomenal. Absurdly good offensive line. So if you allow him to get 5, 6, 7, 8 yards per carry, he's obviously going to run a lot. He got a couple touchdowns in the last game. He got the MVP of the team. He looks brilliant. Just keep giving him the ball. Just keep giving him the ball. On the same topic is Ben Holmes. Keep Ben Holmes grounded, or get Ben Holmes grounded. You have Carey, that is an elite running back. You have Jordan Brewer, who's an elite receiver. So just get Ben Holmes situated. A few of the throws were off balance. He throws off his back foot a lot. And I mean a lot. So just get him stationary in the pocket. Calm him down. Some of the throws are outside of the player's vicinity and it got picked up by Rodion for a pick 6. Just work him into it. You have such a good running game that you don't need to necessarily rely on the passing game to get scores. So I think that Ben Holmes can be kind of like how Helbig was last season. Just use the play action, let him get himself situated before he starts going for these big boy throws. Because currently he's not showed the level to hit these extreme throws as of now. He showed flashes. A few of those balls of Jordan Brewer were gorgeous over the top. But then he would hit it up with a pretty poor pass just a couple plays later. So just get him grounded, see where he's at, see what you can do, and just use Carey to relieve some of the pressure off the quarterback. Active at the catch point because of the drops and because of the Raiders' lack of a true deep threat outside Chafin. Chafin's a good deep threat, but Chafin isn't primarily a deep threat. And the Raiders don't really have a primary deep threat. Being active at the catch point and just kind of hitting them, being bullies, I think will work. Hunter Nichols is a bully, in the best kind of way. Xavier Edwards is an aggressive guy. Benjamin Straight can lay the boom. They have guys that can be physical at the catch point. And I think that's going to be imperative to them winning this game. They could cause a lot of drops. That's why I've gone for them to win 31-20. AI's gone a bit closer, 24-20. But with the mass missed kicks and everything going on, scores have been weird. The whole kicking, I don't even want to talk about the whole kicking situation. Barcelona Dragons and the Madrid Bravos. The first ever El Clasico in ELF history, which is pretty cool. It's good to be part of that history. Dragons surprised a lot of people going 1-0. Madrid are yet to make their debut in the ELF. Dragons' keys to success, slot burners. Now this means two things. A, you have some good players in the slot that could be fast. Donadelli was phenomenal, looked great. On the reverse side, Willie Patterson has got one of the best releases in Europe, and you need to be aware of him coming out of the slot. Works for both teams, defensively, offensively. They both need to be kind of aware who's in the slot and just not letting that get over the top of them. Keep sending the edges. Jared Jackson was excellent. The offensive line really struggled for the Heltwig Mercenaries at keeping the Dragons out. Just sending the pressure, keeping the edges on. For Madrid, it's going to be a big thing. Madrid have had offensive line injuries. They've recruited more guys with less experience. Guys who are going to have a week of training camp. Test them, send everything, and just see what they have. Don't bite. I have mentioned this whole off-season. The Madrid Bravos are a play-action team. The Madrid Bravos are a play-action team. They have Dwayne Obi, they have Helbig. Helbig is literally a play-action quarterback. They have a rapid receiver in Willie Patterson and some excellent complementary receivers with people like Mario Flores. Just don't bite. There's going to be a lot of handoffs. Dwayne is extremely durable. Dwayne is a 3-down running back. He's going to be able to take a lot of carries. They're going to play action and they're going to hit you over the top with those slot burners if you're not careful. That's going to be huge. For Madrid, getting after Levi Lewis. Levi Lewis was fine, but Levi Lewis didn't set the world on fire. It was clear that the pressure of the offensive line was getting to him. The offensive line was not good, and they need to get after him. And I think they could do that because they do have the better of the Spanish pass rushers within Spain on the Madrid team. So if you get him a little bit more flustered, the interior as well for the Madrid team is good. I think you'll be able to get after him, and I think it'll be able to make him uncomfortable. Middle of the field coverage. Donadelli was, as I mentioned, really stood out to me in week 1. Just his hands, how he can reel stuff in, how he's damaging teams over the middle, or the mercenaries over the middle. They need to keep aware of that. Madrid do have active linebackers. They have Nichols that could play it inside. I think that's going to be a really good. Pablo Reyes is going to be an extremely important piece in this game. Keep the middle of the field full for multiple reasons. We know the receivers that like to come into the middle. We know that Willie Patterson can operate on the inside. And we also know that they run a good amount with Tony Monton. You need to have people in the middle that can stop that, otherwise they're just going to keep running down your neck. Obi is going to be extremely important. I mentioned that he is a 3-down running back. He actually is more of a 4th down running back. Honestly, he can play on special teams too as a blocker or whatever. He was a former center when he first started playing football. He's big, he's strong, he can receive out of the backfield. He can take carries on every down. He's a short yardage guy. He can be a long yardage guy. Everywhere. I think that Dwayne is going to be everywhere. I wanted Dwayne to be in the league last year. We didn't get him. But I have gone for a 26-18 win for the Bravos. AI loves the Dragons, so it's going to go for a 28-17. But it's going to be a good game. I think the El Clasico is going to be a nice one. Barcelona rose a lot in the power rankings, but I just think Madrid have the better of the Spanish talent. Munich versus Milan. Someone's O has got to go in reverse. Both of these teams disappointed. Munich disappointed offensively, as did Milan. For Munich, they got to stack the box. Patrick Arz, the only American running back, has not seemed to have worked. The experiment they did, the American running back, is 2024 in the ELF. I don't think it works to have an American running back. That kind of showed. Stacking the box, getting big, stopping Patrick Hart, because he's an extremely talented running back. I don't want anyone to get that twisted. I don't think that Patrick Hart is an elite running back. He very obviously is. The interior offensive line for Milan is not good. And if they stack the box, they're going to be able to resist the physicality the car brings. Manning up Juan Flores Calderon. I do not know why it took so long for them to get the ball to Flores Calderon. It took forever for them to get him involved. And I don't really know why. So if you put a good corner on JFC and just let the box be heavy, they haven't really got much of an answer for that. They don't have an American receiver. The other receivers in Milan are not as good at elite level. They very clearly miss a receiver. And that hurt them a lot. A lot. The scheme didn't work. Like, it was a poorly ran offensive showcase. All day pressure. Brock Hirsch looked uncomfortable back there. The offensive line isn't good. Sending inside pressure. I'd honestly send pressure every play. They have the ability to do that. They have someone like Nitzlander who could possibly be someone to man up with JFC. That's a matchup we saw back when in the Raiders, and he dealt with him well. So I would like to see that. Honestly, that matchup is going to be great. It's going to be like the future of the ELF. That matchup is awesome. But just sending in pressure from Munich's standpoint, they have Evans, Yoruba. They've got Ioannis at the edge. They do have a good defense, although it didn't turn up against the Surge. It is still a very talented group of players, and I think all-day pressure against a poor offensive line is going to be huge. For Milan, they haven't scored yet. They need to score. That goes without saying, but they need to do that first. I think they need to score first. They need to score in the first drive. They need to either do it like quickly, or they just need to do it convincingly. If they don't get the ball first, then fair enough. But defensive stand, they have a good defense. They really do. Zachary Blair looked awesome. They've just signed a new corner. I'm blanking on the name, but he used to play for the Paris team. He is a good player. They have Marquise Manning, who I've been vocal about how much I like Marquise Manning. Stop the Ravens, score. Just open it up. That's going to be such a big momentum change. And how they score is creativity on the offense. There was nothing, no creativity on the offense at all. It was dull. It was poorly ran. I know obviously these are coaches that might not watch these videos and might get annoyed me saying it. It was a poor game. Like, it just wasn't there. Running game couldn't get started. The passing game didn't get started. I told you how we didn't get Flores Calderon on the ball for a long time. They didn't get anyone the ball for a long time. And then they threw multiple picks. They got stacked up on their goal line a few times. Obviously, that was due to punts, but they got sacked a bunch of plays. The ball wasn't coming out quick enough. Bronco was rolling out to ways where he didn't have receivers. It was just not a good lead. It was just a poor offense. And I need to see more from it. Extended drives, rest of the defense. The defense was good, as I said, last week against the Raiders. But they were just constantly on the field. They got tired. The fatigue set in. They lost their gas tank. Extended drives, too many 4-and-outs. Really quick 4-and-outs too. Like, it was a blink and you miss it, and Raiders back on the field. First play of the game, failed snap. The defense is back on the ball. Turnover. they're back on the ball on their own 30. They're demoralised because they're giving up points that aren't really their fault. Extend the drives, get a couple first downs, let them get their breath back, and score. There's a lot that Milan can take from it, I think, with a game again. It's a tough start to have the Raiders and then the Ravens. It is a tough schedule. I'm still going to go for a 35-7 to the Munich Ravens. The AI's gone for 28-24. I think it's going to be quite, not a comfortable, a comfortable game. Not easy, because no football game's easy. But I just don't think that I can't see a way in Milan win this one. I think the only way they're going to pick up a win is against some of the lower teams in that division. I don't think they're going to be able to get much from Munich. I'm not even 100% sure I can say they'll score, and that's a concern. The Prague Lions versus the Berlin Thunder. A lot of people are kind of dunking on the Lions, but again, I'm still seeing these hints of talent within that roster. They started strong. Tavir Jackson is another standout, like Donadelli, that really did well. Radim Kalius, good player. Kari Laus, looked good. They just lost all their momentum. They started strong. Fumble, killed them. 99-yard touchdown, buried them. Break with the Thunder and Lightning, or the rain, or whatever it was. Come back out, concede, which wasn't great. Long drive. Really long drive. Flags, they score, they get a bit of momentum back. And they just can't finish the job off because of they're too big of a deficit to overcome. I do still see a little bit of potential. But don't drop your guard. That's what they were doing. They got comfortable, they thought, it's only a score, and then they let up a couple more. They got soft on coverages. Daniel Wright, I don't think is a corner, I think he's a safety. I mean, it's so hyped to see Daniel Wright. He's not a corner. He's a safety. Play him at safety, please. Lock it up on special teams. I'm going in reverse. We're going to go with that anyway. Lock it up on special teams. Aaron Jackson's an elite returner. Aaron Jackson is someone who can seriously damage absolutely everyone in this league. He got nearly 2 kick return touchdowns last week. He got one of them, but the other one got called back. He's electric. Don't let him get these 50, 60-yard returns. Can't happen. The run is coming. Berlin ran the ball a lot, and just kept running until the holes happened. They're going to do that again. The Prague interior is worse than the Wroclaw interior, so they're just going to keep running the ball. Got to be aware of that. Stand the box, tie them out. They can get through it. Force them to pass. And they can do some good stuff. Berlin, they gave up a lot of points but showed a lot of potential. Watching the backfield is going to be a big one though. They dealt with the dual system of Wroclaw, not very good. Guess who else also has a dual back system? Prague. Both of those guys can also catch out of the backfield. Merrill and Adam Zuleka can both catch out of the backfield if needed. Not as good at it as Genitry and Zozo, I think, are. But you need to watch the backfield, see where they're at. You cannot let the same thing hit you twice. Give Aaron Jackson space. I just said how good Aaron Jackson is and how electrifying he is on the ball. Get him the ball in space. Let him go to work. They're going to be after him. You hit Robin, who is another fantastic receiver, one of my favourite in the league. We saw him score. We've seen how elite Jackson is. Just give him the space. Let him run, whether that's on special teams, on jet sweeps, on short screens, in slants, outs. Give Jackson the fucking ball. Outside run. They run it a lot inside. Try some outside stuff, man. I want to see a little bit more of that. I want to see Ada Khalifi involved more. He wasn't crazy involved. Albert was getting the majority of the Russian attempts. Maybe Khalifi's injured. We don't know. But I want to see a bit more outside run. A few more counters. They ran a lot of draws, and draws didn't really work very much, but I just want to see a bit more run diversity. I've gone for a Berlin win. They showed a lot against Wroclaw that I liked, so I've gone for a 32-25. AI's gone for 21-20 in favour for Prague, which is interesting. So we'll see how that rolls out. But I think this could be a fun game. I think it's another matchup that's kind of going under the radar that could be an interesting one. The debut of the 2024 Paris Musketeers versus the Hamburg Sea Devils. Paris making their debut. Hamburg coming off a win against Prague. First week kinks, going to be a thing for Paris naturally. Got to see where the offense is at, see where the defense is at. Just getting that kind of over and done quickly. We saw a bunch of flags. Also, you guys in the comments said about the referees just, and the teams just trying to sort themselves out. That's why there were so many flags. Just get out of the way. You're going to get flags, sure, but just learn from it, adjust to it, and make those plays. McLam's got to be the focus. I think that Hamburg does lack a number 2 receiver. It's cleared up. Jarvis is the fucking guy, and Javarian Smith's going to look for him. So just know where he is, mark him up. They do have players in that secondary who are able to go man-to-man on Ireland. They have now got a great zonal corner in Marcelo Beard, who can really intercept a lot of passes. We saw last year with 8. Limit the explosive plays. Hamburg got a bunch of explosive plays. That fumble, the 99-yard touchdown. Hardin Canedo going for like 90 yards. Can't happen. None of that can happen if you want to win this game. Limit the explosive plays. 1 or 2, sure, whatever. Over and over and over and over again becomes a problem. Can't do it. They do have a stunning defense, and Paris is the team to beat with the Rhine Fire, not the Galaxy. It's Paris. So this is a very important game. Hamburg. 2 back is working. Keep with it. Tire people out. Simon Amadi, Hardin Canedo. Both of those as a dual back system is going to work. They're both good running backs. Keep using them. They did that. They rotated the guys in. It looked like a fun offense. It was working. Javarian Smith is a mobile guy as well. So just keep using the run. I think it worked well. Test Jarvis early. It kind of took him a minute to get Jarvis involved at some points. So he would go a few longer stretches without getting the ball. Just get him the ball. Like I said, they lack a number 2 receiver. May as well to lean into Jarvis. Get Jarvis the ball early. He can take any kind of ball. So just get it to him. Don't let Paris overrun. Paris is going to be everywhere. They got guys with high motor. They got guys who are coming back from not playing for a while, like Jordan Denmark Heath, who's going to be, I imagine, really wanting to get on that field and take some people out. Don't let them get the upper hand too much. Don't let them have the momentum. They didn't let Prague get too much momentum, but they did at times. Let Prague overrun them. Paris is a lot better than Prague. Paris are going to make him pay a lot more. So just don't let them get too much over you, defensively and offensively. Don't let them dominate the lines, which I'm sure, I'm not going to lie, I think they're going to do. I do think the Paris are going to take away the lines, and that's why I went for a 38-17 win for Paris. The AI's gone for a 24-21, so a little bit closer, in the AI's opinion. The Endroners versus Cologne, another game I'm actually really looking forward to, because one of them has to win, right? And Cologne, I think, do have the advantage when it comes to that, because they're just a better all-round team. But the Enthroners, they were surprisingly good. They could take a lot of positives from that week 1 game, especially Jack Mangle. Shout out to him, looked good, like wasn't overly rushed. But I'll talk about that in the last video. Keys to success: setting up the spy. Isaiah Weed runs a lot, gets out of the pocket a lot. They need someone to get a spy and stop that happening. Otherwise, he's going to run all over him. And we saw what happened when Ryan Fire forced him to pass a little bit. He got a little bit flustered. Withstanding early pressure, Cologne scored first on Ryan. Cologne looked like they could have went up at halftime on Ryan. Like, it was a very real possibility. And then he burned the fuck out. They burned out. Withstanding that early pressure for Endroners could be really, really important. Endroners did have some good plays towards the end of the game, so they seem a lot more balanced. But Cologne seemed to be an explosive team. Start strong, finish weak. That's what I saw from that first game anyway. Get Roby open. Roby's not lost a step. He can do it all. Get him the ball. Samuel didn't play very much as an E player, which was surprising. So wasn't able to give him much relief. Henry Rowland, the tight end, got a good couple of catches. But Roby's the guy. Scheme him open any way you can. Looked really good in the out routes. Burned a lot of people with the out routes. No one in Cologne's secondary, maybe apart from Dijon Owens, can match. And even still, Dijon Owens is a great cover corner, but Roby's movement is fucking spectacularly good. For someone of his advanced age, like Nick Alfieri says, it's going to be a good matchup between those two. Move Roby around, move him into the slot, move him outside, just get him open, get him the ball. For Cologne, relax. Don't get overzealous. They kind of rushed towards that halftime play and it ended up ruining their game. Just keep the ball on the ground. I think that ties into the next thing. We can run. Just keep the ball on the ground. It was a great, successful game plan. Jared Alman looks like he could be really having a breakout year. We'd look like a capable quarterback. Run the ball. I don't think the Enthroners have a run defense that is as good as other people in this league. We saw Carey go crazy. No reason why Jared Alman can't do the same thing. I actually predict he will. Keep someone high up as well. You know Roby's going to be over the top. You know he's going to be everywhere. So you get the John Owens on him, and you keep someone over the top just in case he's hit with a route combination or something. Get someone high just so he's not got an absolute wide open hole to exploit. Ultimately, I've gone for a 27-14 win for Cologne. AI Labs in Throners gone for 21-17. But I think Cologne are going to be able to win, and I think they'll be able to be quite comfortable. Doesn't mean I don't like the Enthroners. I do still like the Enthroners. Connor Wellington looked fine, but a little still in the preseason phases, you know what I mean? Really nice catch over the top of the secondary, but still waiting to kind of see him get more involved. The final game of week 2, the Rhine Fire and the Frankfurt Galaxy. A lot of people treating this one like it's the game of the week. I'm not so sure. I do still favour the Rhine Fire convincingly. For the Rhine Fire, send it heat. The Frankfurt offensive line is good. The offensive line for Frankfurt is not as good as other people in the league, like Vienna, like Rhine, like Paris, potentially. Sending a heat, testing them. They have such an outstanding defensive line. They have such an outstanding linebacker core. They can afford to send 5 or 6 and get a guy through. Castle is back. Gotta be aware of him. He's going to be getting the ball a lot. He's going to be getting the ball everywhere, and he is going to be able to make explosive plays. Keep on him. They have the DBs to do so. If I'm probably putting Tony Anderson on him, and I'm doubling the Triple Crown winner with someone like Amari Williams. So if you do throw towards him, and it's not a great pass, or if it's a bit over or a bit under, Amari Williams is going to be able to pick it off. That's what I would do. Run. Defensive line, Frankfurt, and linebackers, the front 7 in general, is going to really struggle to deal with Glenn Tonga. I think that Glenn's going to have a big game. If Glenn doesn't play as much, Sergi is going to have a big game, who I've been a fan of on this channel for a long time. Run the fucking ball, and they're going to be going for days. We saw how good the run game is. The offensive line is dominant. Glenn's going for another rushing title. And this game is going to be a big part. I think that Glenn is the key to success. For Frankfurt, it cannot just be a deep ball only game. Luke loves a deep ball. He really does. He did it in Milan for years and it worked. But that cannot just be the only thing that they do. Otherwise the secondary is going to read through it. They're going to pick it off. Luke does throw interceptions. He can be a little bit like, fuck it, Markel's over there. Which I can understand, I would too. But in a game of this magnitude, just need to use the intermediate. Use Sandro, who we'll get to in a second, and just build a diverse offense. Sandro, get him comfortable. He's coming off an injury. You don't need to be running him 20 times a game just off an injury. Nurse him into it. They have other reliable running backs in the backfield. I do not want to see Sandro go down again early. I am begging to see Sandro Platz coming at ELF play a full season. So just keep him fresh, rotate him in, use the backup running backs, use the depth, give the linebackers support. It's kind of going off Glenn. The linebackers for Frankfurt are not as good as they were last year, I'm going to be honest. So they need to give them support. They need to send a safety down. They need to provide bigger packages. They need to have more linemen down, a bare front or something, just to give a bit of support for the linebacker group, because it's weaker than it was. Ultimately, I've gone for 39-21 for the Rhine Fire. The AI has gone for 31-28 also for the Rhine Fire. Going to be a good game. I think it's going to be more one-sided than some people believe. Some people think it's going to be a really close game. Some people think that Frankfurt can win. I don't see that personally. I do still think that the Rhine Fire are the team to beat. And I think that Paris is the biggest team to threaten that within division. This was a long one again to edit and produce, but I really do appreciate it. Everyone has been so kind with these videos, and hopefully a good week. Everyone's fresh. Had quite a lot of injuries over the first couple of weeks this season. Hopefully everyone just gets back healthy. That's the main important thing. I got the stock market one I'm going to at the moment. I need to get a couple more names. I'm not sure how many I should really do for that. Maybe 5 potentially, but we'll see what happens and see what I can collect. See when the stats go up and stuff like that as well, just so I can back up my points. But yeah, let me know if you're opinions. Let me know who you think is going to be better than others. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm saying Roguelaw horribly. Let me know if you think I'm an idiot who can't pronounce German names. Let me know if you think Frankfurt are better as a team than Ryan. Let me know what you think of the AI scores. I got pretty good close with some of my scores last week, so this was a pleasure. Thank you very much. See you next time. Like, subscribe, share, whatever. Thank you. Goodbye.